He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute! Greetings once again, citizens of Gotham, and welcome to Bat Minute and Robin, the show that floats through the airwaves 3 days a week down your ear holes. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I thought someone was stuck on Reet Petite there for a second.
Now I'm going to be singing that all day. God damn you.
And here I am, as rare as a fax machine on an elephant. It's me, Niall McGowan.
I have a lot of questions about that as well, which we will get to. It's a baffling line in a baffling movie.
So, like, for a minute, this one of those minutes that doesn't seem like it's got a lot going on, but it's just like everything about Wilfred Pennyworth now I've become fascinated by.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I looked into him. There's not a lot to say, but it was interesting. And we are rounding out the week, joined once again by our very super ultra special guest. It's Brittany Howarth.
Hello again, and it's really cool that you're thinking of this mystery of Alfred, considering there is a series coming out around Alfred. It might actually already be out.
Yeah. I think it might already have been cancelled.
And it might already be cancelled.
It's one of those ones, I think they got 2 seasons of the Pennyworth TV show, and now they've announced there's going to be a comic to continue it, and it's like, that's basically saying it's cancelled, right?
It's better than the one episode that Wonder Woman got, that pilot with I can't remember the actress's name, but interesting costume.
Yeah, and Pedro Pascal, weirdly, in that one pilot as well.
Oh yeah,
was he also in weird. That? My goodness.
Yeah, he was he wasn't Maxwell Lord, but he was like some other guy. I think he was like a cop or something like that. But it was one of those weird bits of trivia that bring up when Wonder Woman 84 came out. It's like, Pedro Pascal is not a stranger to this character.
It's like that quote, like you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And we've seen that with so many different actors.
I mean, like why he was like he's like the best thing in that movie, because he's like, I know exactly what I'm going for. Yeah. I've been here before. I want to ham this up.
I defend him in that movie. A lot of critics seem to be like, it's a crap villain. I thought not only was his performance wonderful, but like it was an interesting villain to me. It was different. Like, okay,
his performance was good, but it could be better.
Oh, walked right into that one.
He's actually that's a weird segue into something I know, Brittany, you definitely want to talk about, because I think you might be potentially the world's leading expert on the Birds of Prey television show that got cancelled after one season that featured Barbara Gordon as essentially like the main character.
I should really have a doctorate in this.
But in that, because I watched the pilot, just to kind of, I actually saw it way back when it first aired back in like 2002, and it was just like, oh, this isn't for me. But we watched it. But one of the weirdest things in it is like I think it's prior to the Catwoman 2004 TV show, or not the TV show, the 2004 movie, and
Halle Berry?
That we made Halle Berry Catwoman. We did a review of that. We're like, what's this crazy? She has a cat powers. Where the hell's that come from? And in the Birds of Prey TV show that they made, Huntress, who is the daughter of Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne, also has cat powers.
She does.
Like her eye changes into like a cat's eye, and you get like little growls, like almost like freaking Barbara Minerva's cheetah. Like if they had turned around and was like, actually season 2 turns out Bruce Wayne had an affair, and it turns out that wouldn't even work then, because it would be like, maybe Huntress, or maybe Cheetah's actually Huntress's mother, but then Cheetah would have had to have given birth to, so that would be a really convoluted story.
I don't know what you were describing there, but it certainly was convoluted.
Yeah, I think I got lost in thought there. I was like,
what the hell?
Does not work at all. But
it's kind of bringing in the idea of metahumans in I think it might have been one of the first ones to have the idea, TV shows for DC that had the idea of metahumans. So it's a bit of a strange parallel universe spin-off of which one's the Batman with Catwoman, the Batman movie? me out, guys. I'm nearing bedtime.
Batman Returns.
There we go. So it's as if they did have like a secret child, and but I don't think Batman quite knows about her. But it's now, with Batman gone, it's up to the Birds of Prey plus Alfred. Beautiful Alfred is there to really protect Gotham, and you get some awesome kind of like metahuman powers. Dinah Lance is absolutely butchered, but Barbara Gordon is great. Barbara Gordon is really well cast, really well acted. Probably one of the stronger representations of her character too.
Yeah. She's played by Dina Meyer, who people like, oh yeah, Starship Troopers. She's like, that's her big sort of claim to fame. But yeah, and then Ashley Scott is Huntress, and she does a pretty good. Like, things like watching the pilot, I was like, oh yeah, I can understand why as a 13 or 14-year-old or whatever I would have been there like, where's Batman? This isn't a Batman TV show. Where the hell is he? But
for all the female fans, we were looking at that going, yeah, kick butt, go girls. But it's so early 2000s, and all that fashion is kind of coming back in as well. You look at Ashley Scott's haircut in that season, and it just pairs well with Veronica Mars.
Chloe from the first season of Smallville, that same haircut, that kind of waft that goes out at the bottom waft thing.
Oh, bring it all
or even
back,
Alice
people.
Twilight. Oh my goodness, that was she was probably the last one to have that haircut and make it look good.
But it is true, because watching that pilot, it's like it was one of those weird things where, like, at the time, like, this is just the way things are. This will never seem dated. And now looking at it, it's like, this is the most early 2000s thing I have ever seen.
Yeah. The technology that Barbara uses, oh my goodness, it's so old and so dated.
That sounds perfect to me, though.
So let's go hopping through a couple. You can get like compilations of the best scenes on YouTube, and like the finale fight.
Yes.
Was set to all the things she said.
Yes, tattoo. It's brilliant. But the thing is that they even beat, I think it was New 52, where they decided to give Barbara Gordon her legs back and bring her back as Batgirl. But they beat them to it, and they gave Barbara Gordon some technology that she developed herself, where she was able to fight in the final fight scene.
Amazing.
Yeah, so she's like trying to get this technology working the whole way through the season, and finally she can do it. And yeah, tattoo. Oh, it's just beautiful. The clock tower, glasses going everywhere. Harley Quinn. Oh, it's nonsense.
So this is a minute 33, and the minute starts with a switch, not the sexual term again. This is a very dirty week, and it ends with a tender kiss. It's very nice.
And you just, it only get dirtier from here, John, quite frankly.
Well, it is Batman. As we've discovered, it's a very erotic series. But we are back as Alfred says how things have changed. Now she's tucking him in. How often was he tucking her in anyway? The uncle? Does your uncle tuck you in?
I thought it was only 5 years ago her parents died. How long has she been at Oxbridge? What is the name of the school she goes to?
Oxbridge.
Oxbridge. How long has she been? 5 years at Oxbridge?
Yeah, so like when she was a child, her uncle was tucking her in. I don't like that.
Or again, it could be that she is the daughter of his ex-girlfriend. It could be that he felt an obligation to look after his daughter, maybe.
That'd probably make a little bit more sense.
I'm leaning towards it. I think fully he's the dad.
It's a safer area to go to.
The ages make no sense, but we see that on the side because Alfred has a picture of her mother, Peg.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's from the 30s.
And that makes no god. Like, how old was she when she had Barbara then? Like,
you know what? Maybe it's actually a photo from one of those like souvenir theme parks. You would dress up as something. She's just gone to, in Australia, I guess it would be someplace kind of like Sovereign Hill. So she's gone to Sovereign Hill to dress up in old-timey fashion and get that beautiful black and white photo.
That's the only thing that makes any goddamn sense.
No. But the thing, so well, I'll get to it in a little bit, because I might as well just do it now, actually, because in that picture, that's an actual actress, and that's an actress, Gloria Stewart, and she was born in 1910. And so you take it, this is 97, let's say Alicia Silverstone's born in 1978, maybe? It's like, this is like
it's
a miracle, baby. Maybe that's why Alfred's so protective of her. It's just like, it's an absolute stunner that this child actually managed to be born.
It defied science and God.
But here's the weird thing about that is, because we do get a very prominent close-ups of this photograph, and that actress is Gloria Stewart, and you might also know her as the old lady from Titanic. Oh, that's who she is.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Who would throw those jewels into the water? That's such a dumb idea. Sell it on eBay.
I've always found that movie really rude because, she had a life with a husband and had kids and this whole, yet on her deathbed, so to speak, she remembers that one guy she met once on the Titanic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's going to be like in the afterlife. It's just going to be, friggin' Jack Dawson shows up and then her husband will be like, and the kids will be like, hey.
Look, there were some
right
things
here.
I reckon that probably just didn't make the movie. And she was like, yes, Jack, very memorable.
It's so strange, isn't it? I think it's meant to be sweet, isn't it? Like, because she's there thinking of the Titanic, she's thinking of him, but that's not sweet. It's weird.
Although I will say also, because obviously Titanic also came out the summer of 1997, the same summer that this came out. So the year of Gloria Stewart, apparently.
She was everywhere, all over the screens.
Well, both have ice-based adversaries, I guess, as well.
The villain is ice.
Just imagine though Alfred talking about it's been 84 years since you were born, missing.
Oh my God.
I'm 84.
And get Arnold Schwarzenegger in Titanic.
Oh man, who could eat any?
Get
part,
into the
really?
chopper. The iceberg is amazing.
Oh my God, yeah, do a modern Titanic, update it for the modern day. He's trying to rescue people on the chopper that's coming. Come on, do it, move. Women and children first, go.
He's like lifting up the violin guys and throwing them into the lifeboats and stuff. For the love of God, I told you to move.
Oh, it needs to happen. There was that rich guy who was going to build a Titanic 2, wasn't there?
I think did that actually end up happening?
Apparently not, but I might be wrong.
It's honestly just tempting the fates. It's a rather poor idea.
Why would you do that? Why would you possibly tempt fate? I mean, did they tempted fate the first time by calling it the unsinkable ship? And the most upsetting thing to me is that I really don't like Peg as a nickname for Margaret.
It is weird.
It's it's Peggy. You can't go any shorter than that. And maybe they couldn't. I don't know if Captain America had his love interest just yet. Probably did. I don't know much about Marvel.
Well, as well,
Stealing it from there.
People used to be weird with let's say shortened versions of names, because Jack used to also be used for John.
Oh yeah,
Jack.
and Ian was used for John as well. And English is weird.
It makes no goddamn sense, does
It
it?
doesn't.
How does anyone learn English? I don't understand.
The second you said Jag was used for John.
Jag, yeah, that's why I love Jag so much, Niall.
It's like, I should have been calling you Jag this whole time.
You can call me
no
Jag.
idea.
You can call me Jag if you want.
We've got an Auntie Sheena in my family, and she gets Auntie Jean because there's another Auntie Sheena, and something. It's just all these names being swapped out. Like, it's so British and so silly. Sorry, guys, but it is.
Oh well, yes. I mean, the kings of silliness is.
It kind of seems very very lower class as well. Like Peg doesn't seem like an aristocratic name.
Yeah,
It kind
Margaret does. Yes.
Yeah, it kind of alludes that maybe Alfred isn't from the Blue Bloods himself. Maybe this might be him putting on his own airs. I'm like, yes, again, people will know I bring up Frasier all the time, but there is a fantastic episode where Frasier hires a butler. It's actually the guy from Titanic. What's his name? The guy who played Sidney Bristow's dad.
Everything's connected.
He was like one of the aristocrats on the Titanic as well. And what do you call him? He's like a really well-known character actor. Oh, it's gonna bug me now. But
I'm just picturing Leonardo DiCaprio in there as a butler for Frasier.
Why
I just heard the
not?
guy from Titanic, and I'm just like, okay, I don't remember that episode.
But yeah, there's an episode of Frasier where he hires a butler, and he always is Frederick, and he always speaks very very properly and stuff, and if I may take the liberties and all this kind of stuff. And then there's a scene where he's alone with Daphne, and he's like, "All right, love, where are you from then?" And it turns out it's all a bit of ruse. So it could be Alfred's been doing this the whole damn time.
I was thinking that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, once he's on his own here, and she comes in to see him, he just drops his guard. Then he's like, "All right, Babs, how you been handling yourself?"
Victor Garber, that's what you call the guy. Victor Garber. He's in tons of stuff.
He should totally be like a bloke, though. I reckon it'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna watch the match."
Yeah, but this is
West Ham.
Oh yeah, Pig. It's my ex Pig. I mean my what's the thing now? 'Cause she's changed from his ex to his sister. You can see there's a bit of weird ADRing going on because he also has to come out with a very obvious line of he's like, "I'm looking for my brother, your uncle," as if like, well, she went to Oxbridge. Alfred. I'm pretty sure she can suss out who her uncle is. But it's as the camera's going over, his mouth is covered by the computer screen. So and it's not in the script that he says your uncle. They've obviously put that in afterwards. It's just the whole Margaret Clark Peggy thing is just it's a can of worms, man. Like it's opening up into confusing territory. Quite frankly,
there's a lot of stuff that's bizarre here because Alfred is trying to get in touch with him, Wilfred, as you say, and he is also a butler. Is this like a family of butlers? Do they all buttle?
Yes, well, my father's father was a gentleman's gentleman. So, I buttled at my father's knee.
Is it a family business? Do you have the family butler agency?
I think that is true. I think it was in like the original version of Alfred, back when he was Alfred Beagle, before he was Alfred Pennyworth. His backstory was that he was like sent by his father died, but his father was always like, I used to be the Wayne family butler, so you now must fulfill. I don't know why there was a gap where like but then so when he dies, like Alfred's like, I gotta go and work as your butler now because that's my dad. My dad used to be your butler, and now he wants me to.
That's the law. Now he's owned. It's like indentured servitude.
Pretty much, yeah.
This is why Barbara is so upset. If this is pretty much slavery, guys, this is why she wants to whisk him away.
Yeah, I'm fully on her side now.
Yeah, totally. And also too, like not because of Joel Schumacher's very oversexed lifestyle, people this past 2 seasons might have noticed that we keep seeing sexual innuendos where there probably aren't any.
No, there probably are, Niall. We know Joel Schumacher.
But just him saying like, "Oh yeah, Peg" instead of Margaret, and then he's like, "Oh, it's my nickname for Sweet Margaret," and you're like, "Sweet Margaret, S&M." Is that what you're getting at, Joel? Dude, come on.
And pegging
as well. It's just like, this is if this movie didn't feature rubber nipples and friggin' close-ups of everyone's asses so much, I mean, that's preposterous.
And if we didn't know that the only hobby of Joel Schumacher was having sex.
Yes, and I don't know if you heard, Brittany, but Joel Schumacher, before he died, he said he's had sex with like 20,000 people in his lifetime or something.
I mean, that's definitely something to put on your CV, I guess.
Yeah, as if he knew the end was coming. It's like, I gotta make sure the world knows and get that out there.
Let them know. I don't know why I did an Alfred voice, but why not? I think it was my generic, I am kind of frail voice is Alfred now. But yeah, so, he puts all of that stuff in these movies. We know it's in there. They're very erotic films. So I'm going to suggest, Niall, you are right, and he thought nobody would notice.
So we're watching you, Joel. We're watching you minute by minute.
You guys are getting caught up on a name here, and I think that's hilarious, considering that Poison Ivy just openly was just burning through all this sort of like content, and it's like, yeah, let's look at this name written on a picture frame.
This is our lives, Brittany. Every minute has to be analyzed, though.
Yeah, but I'm going to tease you for it.
This is us 3 to 4 hours a week, and then there's the editing for Niall. So what's that? Another 3-4 hours. We have to do this. This is everything we do.
I do love, though, that we do get the mention, though, of Alfred's brother Wilfred. Of course, he also has his other brother, Frightstead, and Ted Fred.
Are they all just Freds? Is it Al and his middle name is Fred? Is he just had like 2 names this whole time?
It's actually Al Pennyworth, but then when I want to sound fancy, I add the Fred.
Yeah.
The Alfred is the cover, yeah, that's his fancy name, but his real name is Fred.
Oh, been great. Or even like Alf.
Or Alf, yeah.
You see, some people just want to watch the world burn. Thanks, Freddie.
See,
That'd be great if, because, Dick always calls him Al in these movies. If Barbara showed up and kept calling him Alf the whole time. And Bruce is just like, wait, stop. Everyone, house rule. His name's Alfred. I'm not changing for any of this, all right?
remember Alfred? He's back in Alf form. That's the most obscure reference I've ever made on the show. I think.
I want to do a meme now of that Simpsons thing, but just put Alfred's face on all the pogs. He's back in pog form.
I'm just thinking of a Christmas special where just Elf, just the movie Elf, but it's Alfred and he comes down from the North Pole.
Yes. That's more photoshopping we need. Someone do that. And his brother, he can't find him because he is with the Maharaja of Mirajampur, which is a floating court.
It's a bit like the castle in Krull.
Yes.
Where you can't track it because it will disappear and reappear somewhere else
Which
from time
baffled
to time.
me. So I was like, okay, I understand the concept. They travel. They move on these elephants and whatnot. But then that brings up two things. One, is this a real thing in history? And secondly, so where do they rule? Like, what's their land? Mirajanpur? Where's that? So it's bizarre. I couldn't find a lot of answers on either of these things. I did not find, in my quick research, a historical example of a court that operated in this manner. For obvious reasons, logistics.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, I kind of took it to be like, oh, that must be a thing in India. Because otherwise, why would you make it up? Like, it seems so bizarre.
I thought the same thing. I mean, obviously, I didn't spend hours and hours and hours looking because I was looking into Peg. But
and pegging.
And pegging.
I want to know the internet rabbit hole you went down, John.
Well, the listeners know I'm familiar with that concept. But I couldn't find it.
Now I'm kind of frustrated, though, that it's not something. Because it's like, well, couldn't this have been like Cordo Maltese or something again? Like you could have had a throwback to the 89 movie.
Yeah.
You could have had it just tie into the comics in some way. But this is really like, oh no, yeah, he's this floating court. And it's now adding in this element of like British colonialism by having the English butler to the Maharaja.
Yeah, hang on. So that confuses the timeline even more.
Yeah. I said, when is this? Is it like 100 years ago? 200 years? 1930, 1995, 97? What's going on?
We'll find out there is no Australia at this point.
No, well, it probably is. Captain Boomerang doesn't exist. He's lying. He's a paid actor.
No.
But the question arises is like, did they mention a country? And if they did, there's not that much diversity in, I think, around that kind of time for comics. Probably as far Middle East they went would have been Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
So if you really wanted to stretch it, maybe that.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
They could have had like a Ra's al Ghul element in there. There could have been an allusion to the character. But
maybe his brother is the butler for him, and he doesn't know he's secretly evil, and that's why he can't get in touch with the brother because he's been killed.
Oh my god! Setting up the next movie.
League of Assassins.
There you go. That brings him in as the villain of the next one.
Yeah, it's so much handy when the person you have to assassinate works for you as well. So you don't even have to go out and do any ninja stuff.
No, but maybe like he finds out that his boss is crooked. And he's like, oh my God, I'm going to tell everybody. No, you won't.
So one of my favorite things in this minute, and maybe even this whole movie, is like when Alfred does his enhance image. And there's an arrow keeps pointing to Wilfred. And it's like really blatant. And then the picture of Wilfred in like, out in India, where it's presumably sweltering weather.
Yes, having lived in Pakistan, let me tell you, it's almost always ridiculous. Even in the winter, when you might feel cold, but it's not.
I doubt the arrow's really needed, considering he's probably the only white person for a long time.
Yeah,
it's like
the white guy in the tailcoat and the bowler hat is probably going to give him away.
Maybe just because the cameras are bad at that time. Did the white balance just not work? And he's just a bowler cap and a suit, and there's like nothing else. It's just like blank white space. The first invisible man.
But I also love the side eye he's giving the camera. Like, how does it? Because it's almost the original shot's from like a mile away. But it's just like, I can spot this. Maybe it's like a troubled expression of like, I am working for the League of Assassins. Ra's al Ghul he's making me wear this boiling hot friggin' outfit, walking alongside an elephant. I don't even get the ride on the elephant with him. And it's like he's kind of gazing at the camera, like, please,
kill me now. But you could also, if you wanted to tie it into something else, one of the origin stories for a different Barbara, not Barbara Gordon, Barbara, who's the name for Cheetah, is that she's actually doing some work in, this is more South Africa, I think. Does Africa have, Africa has elephants. So there you go. It could be more like maybe the Barbara storylines. The next movie is less League of Assassins, but more leading into Wonder Woman territory with Cheetah.
Ooh.
And he's a part of the expedition in finding these temples and ruins.
I like that. That's really cool. And I actually wanted the whole photo sequence, though. You know, like zooming in and stuff. I wanted it to be like Blade Runner.
He has to go sit there like, wait a minute, enhance 30 degrees.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
28
to the
left. Enhance.
No, you sunk my battleship.
And then she's just like, you know, you can just do it with the mouse, Uncle Alfred.
I paid for this
touch
voice
screen.
command.
Just zoom in.
No, I paid top dollar for this equipment. I'm going to use it.
That's the only reason why he actually speaks in a British accent. It's the only way the computer understands him.
Yes, because a lot of these things don't. Like, Niall, do you have that problem being Irish?
Oh God, yeah. The amount of times, like, I won't say it's because it's staring at me. It can see me right now. The computer aid that is in the house that plays music upon request. Every time I talk to it, half the time it's like, I don't know that one. So I do have to go like, you know, play. I have to put on like an American accent because it understands that. But when I speak in my normal accent, it's just like, I'm sorry, I don't know that song. It's like, you played it yesterday, for Christ's sake.
Oh, does it do it in Australia, or are you okay? Are you exempt?
Oh, look, it really depends. But it's not even just technology. I taught in Vietnam for a little bit, and I was asking a colleague, where can I buy stickers to give to the kids?
Yeah.
But we don't pronounce R's. They just don't exist. So she's looking at me like, what? Stickers. I'm like, where can I find some stickers?
Okay. Because you do it a bit more like English people. Stickers.
Yeah, stickers. we are very much alike. It's almost like we're descendant from some people who came from England.
I know. It's crazy that, isn't
so
it?
Weird.
Maybe some people moved over there.
Moved is the gentle term.
I do see Australia as like, it's kind of England just with the weather that English people want. That's why everybody from England wants to move there all the time. It's like, look, it's kind of the same culture, I guess.
You're welcome to it, but when you come, just know you will be red. It's just sunburnt. I just don't go outside, and that's how I deal with it.
Having lived abroad, like, I've got to explain this to English people. I'm like, if you go to Australia, like, take care. Don't just sit in the sun. Like, that's stupid.
Have you guys been to Australia at all?
No, I haven't.
Some of the ozone layer is actually destroyed above Australia. So if you're going to get sunburnt, it's going to be a lot worse here.
Oh my God. And yeah, as a redhead, especially, like, I get burnt in England.
Oh,
when I'm going to yours later, Niall, as of recording, I'm putting some sunscreen on.
Yeah. That's why, like, obviously, I'm always wearing hats too. It's like, well, you know, partially to cover up the bald head. It's also just like, well, it's, you know, constant protection from the sun, basically. Like, you know, no matter the weather.
Well, you should be dressing like Wilfred here.
If I could get away with it, I would dress like Wilfred all the time. Although, coming from Northern Ireland, the bowler hat and the black suit has very different connotations. So I would have been killed if I wore that in my hometown. I can tell you that.
Well, you're a famous Orangeman, aren't you? I shouldn't even joke about that.
You think though this is what Wilfred's doing? He's leading the Orange March for the Maharaj. He just like see all the drummers and stuff in the background.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's not India. He's in Ireland there. That's why you can't get hold of him. He's not in India.
So they floated all the way over to Ireland.
He wanted to take part in the Troubles, and you know.
But one thing I did notice here, apparently Gotham has its own Google. It has Gotham Net web search.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. Because what was the big one around this time? I mean, Yahoo and
Bing.
I'm disappointed he's not using Ask Jeeves, quite frankly.
Yeah, it was probably Yahoo, Jeeves. What else did you have? Like, did GeoCities have a search as well as a website hosting?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't have proper access to the internet until like 2003.
Oh yeah, I forgot you lived in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
But I don't know if Alfred would be like, I won't ask Jeeves. A butler does not ask another butler for these other things.
I don't know. I was probably all in on the Yahoo train. They were the big one.
But that what should not skip over, though, the best line of the scene, where Barbara says, I guess you don't get a lot of fax machines on elephants, which is...
Jesus Christ.
The thing is, it's also terrible, but I do love it at the same time.
It's ridiculous.
It is like a kind of crappy joke you would tell to your uncle. It's just like, oh, yes, we have fun. Yes.
And the good thing is, these days, if you made the movie now, and you knew when it was set, it would be easy to get in touch with him. You know, modern technology, you don't need to be talking about fax machines. It's just, I'll just send him a WhatsApp message. Or, he's on Kick these days.
Just send a pigeon.
Yeah.
Always fails. Just send a pigeon. Or an African swallow or whatever they send nowadays.
Oh.
I get to Snapchat him, like Alfred with all the filters on. Just...
Why my dog? Barbara, why my dog?
I believe he has an OnlyFans or something. Let's look that up and
you
can get in touch.
Peggy, don't look.
Avert your eyes. It's not for ladies.
Then Barbara's helping him out with the filters on Snapchat.
Yeah.
She brings up the Batman mask, and she's like, oh, hey, this looks pretty good on me. And there's your origin story. That's why she becomes
That's a
Batgirl.
great scene. They do a sort of a montage of Alfred setting up different social media accounts to try and find his brother. So it's like, you know, it cuts, she's helping him with his TikTok. Maybe he'll see this, I'm not sure. And
she has to break it to him. It's like, Uncle Alfred, he's left you on red.
He's not coming back.
It says scene
You're
Wednesday.
ghosted.
Like, sweet.
That's so harsh.
And it's now Sunday, so dude, I hate to tell you, but he ain't getting back to you. But yeah, that's how we do get the nice little moment between Alfred and Barbara here. I'm kind of noted out mainly for this minute. Does anyone have any notes about minute 33 in particular they want to talk about? Or
well, I have a couple of little minor things. One thing is that in the comics, Wilfred does appear once or twice.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't really do much. He's only in like 2 different short little bits. But in both versions, he is not a butler. He is an actor with the old Avon Players. Yeah, which is not Avon in England. No, sorry. It is Avon in England. I found a group with that name, which is not in Avon in England, is what I'm trying to say. They are in Michigan, which is a bit weird.
It's a little bit of like, it's nice that they have like, I guess, her showing up is a bit accurate to Betty Kane showing up at Kathy Kane's door. And then like, we have to give Alfred a brother. We might as well call him what his actual brother is.
I guess.
It's kind of defying the stuff that Tim Burton was doing. It's like, well, here's a character that's essentially Rupert Thorne, but I'm calling him Carl Grissom. Because why not?
I guess in having a brother as well, it gives Alfred the opportunity to just have a huge exposition dump. And then, just a source for Barbara to find all the information. So the only reason, I think, for Wilfred being there is just for Barbara to become Batgirl and Snoop.
Yeah. That is the entire point behind it. And speaking,
but she becomes Snoop Dogg. Like, oh my god,
she does.
Well, she is wearing that sort of plaid checked shirt. Snoop Dogg used to wear them in the 90s.
Oh, I think this is her disguise bathrobe, though.
Yeah,
I think we get to all that next.
Oh, we will, because there's something under that.
She does the classic climb out the window as well with the beautiful run on.
Oh yeah.
Who has that many bed sheets in the bedroom?
Old people,
I guess.
Yeah, that's true. But she's, like, does the pillowcases tied in there as well?
But yeah, usually like because Batman and Robin is such a reviled movie. We always ask the guests, Brittany, if they have a movie that they revile as equally themselves, that they think is like literally the worst thing they've ever watched. Do you have anything like that, like hidden up your sleeve?
Oh, I'm probably going to get a little bit of a hate here, but probably the worst. I'm going to stick with DC. I'm going to just stick in this kind of area. Suicide Squad is the worst thing. And I mean, like, even Green Lantern actually had some sort of like structure to it, and Ryan Reynolds, bless him. But like, you have like the team going onto 3 different helicopters that crash. It's like, get a new story plot. What is going on?
Point. Like, I'd never thought about that. Yeah, that happens multiple. Gee, I've only watched it the once. Were you with me now? We went to the cinema.
Oh no! I remember I went to see it myself back when I was had the house to myself back home in Ireland. So I was completely by myself that whole weekend. Went to see Suicide Squad, and I had no one to complain to about it.
I saw the midnight release.
Oh, that's even more heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it's a yo-yo of a film that doesn't have a traditional, because it should have like a traditional 4-act structure, because it's a superhero film. It had the opportunity to be this amazing, popping, almost music video-esque style movie. And I thought, yes, this is going to be cool. It's going to have something different and fun. And nope. The first 2 scenes where Amanda Waller addresses 2 people at the dinner table and then goes into, in the following scene, goes into a boardroom, she does the same thing. Oh, yeah. It's a movie that repeats itself over and over again.
It does it multiple times. Actually, in the end sort of fight, they kind of have, not the very end, like the build-up, where they have to fight through the goons, let's say. It happens twice in a row, the same sort of setup.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Yeah. Like, everything happens 2, 3, 4 times. It's like, we're just going to pad this out.
I read somewhere that they wrote this script in 6 weeks or something, and that in itself is a bit alarming. It's just kind of like, oh, guys.
It is a shame, because on paper it's great, isn't it?
I mean, Suicide Squad is the very first appearance of Barbara Gordon as Oracle. So she, in one comic, I have it framed, #nerd, and she just says something as simple as "Hello, Oracle" here, and that's the very first time we get to see Barbara. Well, not even see, we just read her bubble, her communication bubble, as Oracle.
Well, actually, a question though, Brittany, like while you're here, because you obviously would know the comics very well. Is there any particular Batgirl storylines that you think we should look up and investigate going forward? That you think are like the top tier stuff?
Absolutely. So Oracle is Batgirl is more well known, so it's easier to have a conversation to start off with that. But Oracle is top tier. She is an amazing character. If you want to understand this common theme throughout comic book history, which is women in refrigerator, then I highly recommend you read the book Oracle Year One. It has an amazing art style. Mostly, it's not quite, when you have like this monocolor, oh goodness, words are escaping me. Beautiful colors, beautiful art. And it goes into this whole idea where Barbara's realizing the only reason why the reporters care about her paralysis is the fact that she is Jim Gordon's daughter. Jim Gordon is the attention there. And the only reason why that she was even a target from the Joker is the fact that she was Jim Gordon's daughter. And yet look at how much she had done. Not only was she a superhero, but she was also a political activist in so many different comics. Yeah. It comes up with this idea where her torment was only used to further Jim Gordon and Batman's story in The Killing Joke. So this Oracle Year One looks at that and says, how can she become her own character, her own person, and finally be recognized for the amazing things that she does?
Oh, nice. I think even like there's a near sense. I think Alan Moore himself has even like sort of dismissed The Killing Joke as like, yeah, I was doing a lot of things like kind of in reference to Barbara Gordon. Was like, I don't know if I should have went that hard there. Or
you're absolutely right. Yeah, he says he went too hard. A lot of people thought he did as well, and it was only meant to be a standalone anyway. But two comic book writers later brought her back because they believed the same thing. She was done way too hard, and I think more characters should be done like Barbara Gordon. You've got Xavier, you've got Barbara Gordon, and there is so much technology nowadays. We don't have to be Superman to be a superhero in comics. So there's a chance to be so diverse, and people like writers need to take it and run with it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, also to as we said, like we have people talking about like their the most hated movies. We also do have the question of, is there a movie or any piece of media that is regarded as being bad that you personally really love? Like, I don't know if Birds of Prey, the TV show, was that for you, or if there's if there's anything else you want to talk about.
Well, I will stick with DC again because I'm sure there's many films that I love that mostly hated, and I've got a couple of reviews on YouTube which definitely get a little bit of backlash for that. But I do really like the CW. The CW Birds of Prey, and in the more movie universe, I really enjoyed the Birds of Prey movie itself. And although it didn't have Barbara Gordon, it still had its own quirky little flair, because it was quite haphazard, but it was from the perspective of Harley Quinn. So how else would you do a movie from her perspective?
As of recording, I still haven't watched it because we're going to cover it on the show, and I want to go in fresh, and it's getting to the point now where it's like, I should just watch it.
You should just watch it. Like, it's going to be a while before we get around to it. So, like, yeah, by all means, just dig in.
I might have to.
Let's, do you have any, were you devastated though? Like Brittany is like a, hardcore Barbara fan to be like, oh, they're making a Birds of Prey movie. He's like, yeah, she's not in it. It's like, she's one of the founding members of the Birds of Prey. No, she's not showing up though.
There's so many reasons to have Barbara Gordon. Like the relationship between Dinah and Barbara is amazing because they are both treated like really quite horribly, like Killing Joke for Barbara Gordon. And there's a similar situation for Dinah Lance. So the fact that they find each other, build their own, it's almost like a Justice League, really. It's their own superhero squad. The fact that Barbara isn't there, it's sad, but it's also, I'm so happy with creative license, like I have been saying in the previous couple of podcasts, but also I'm so protective of Barbara that it's not painful that she isn't on screen, because I'm kind of like, I know I'm going to be a horrible critique and just trying to reel that back and being like, no, let them be. So it's okay. It's okay. I'll wipe away a tear, but it's okay.
But we will head into the dark, dark night. And, come back again next week, people. But, Brittany, would you like to tell people one more time where you can be found online?
Absolutely. If you want to see some of my content, you can jump on over to youtube.com/BrittGirl. Got some videos in there, typical trailer reactions, and some video essays as well, where I break down concepts like death of the author and some fun things like why Batman won't kill the Joker. But also on different social medias, just look up BrittGirl, BrittGirl AUS even, and you'll probably find me. Got a little cartoon figure there.
Hey. So make sure you do that, and, come and speak to us. All the usual crap, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's all nonsense. Go to our TeePublic, Sleepy Charlie Media. You can get T-shirts, new logo. You can get all kinds of stuff there. I don't know. They make new products all the time. You can get a print, like a giant print of Niall's art if you want. Nobody's bought it because it's expensive, but you can get it.
You're going to be like, no one's bought it because
it's a piece of crap. But, you can get it if you want. And we will see you again on Monday with a new guest and new minutes of Bat Minute and Robin.
Next time, like, hark, what girl through yonder window escapes? A benevolent butler is bidden to bed, and his honorary relative races through the homestead. But while there's a departure through an aparture and the heisting of a hog, what else will this delinquent dame do to leave us agog? We get to the chopper on Monday, Bat Nights. So, tune in next time. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
We'll be back.